I'm so excited. We have one of my favorite train wrecks today, Pauline. Hashtag free Dilly. Starting stats, Pauline is 50 years old and has 678 pounds. As we always do, we gotta check out the living quarters. Looks like we just have a modest apartment building. I feel sorry for her neighbors, but it must be a sight. We are immediately treated to this ow my leg moment. Those are huge legs. If you don't know Pauline's backstory, you could Google her and you could see an article, I think in the Daily Sun, where she says she's begging her husband to lose weight. I'm just saying, that's a lot of legs to spread out. Before we get into our usual bathroom scene, I just gotta point out, what's up with all the laundry detergent in her bedroom? With the cameras there, you know it's shower day, and it looks like Megan has the honors. I guess Dilly was on a Funyun break. Well, this is a new setup I haven't seen before on this show. I do have to wonder, where did Pauline find underwear that fits? Megan gets to scrub in those folds, and we get to see somebody make their big television debut. It's her slave/son, Dylan, aka Dilly. Megan says that as long as she can remember, Dilly has been taking care of his mom. Pauline says it's the worst thing ever to have her son take care of her. But doing a quick Facebook stalk, I still feel like Dilly may still be doing that job. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. Cousin Megan says that Dilly has no life. And look at him, he does look miserable. That poor kid. I do feel bad for him, but I have to snark. Pauline, wrapped up like a big pink burrito, calls for Dilly to go for a breakfast run. With the magic of TV editing, Dilly delivers that breakfast platter within seconds. He earned that 5-star rating. Pauline goes on and on about how she kept gaining weight, and I just like this picture because I like to think Dilly's playing The Sims with his perfect family, just like we all do. It's sad backstory time, and this time we're blaming it on divorce again. Pauline says they were poor and there was no food. She also says that there was no welfare back in the day. Google says otherwise. When Pauline's parents got back together, that's when she just went ham. Literally. I would also like to point out this is probably the last time Dilly has ever looked happy. We close out our sob story with couch grilled steak. Yum yum. Moving on, we see that Dilly is bringing his mom in for a landing. It's about time for one of my favorite scenes ever. Our ridiculous begins as Dylan drives to the store while Pauline does whatever this is. As you do when you wheel into your favorite store, you immediately ask for tamales. That poor lady's like, oh no, we're going to need more tamales. And also, why is there a bike hanging from the ceiling? After getting their front of store tamales, Pauline and Dilly head to the pastry shelf, and Pauline over-explains how to get the freshest pastry to Dilly. And I have to wonder how many times has she over-explained this to poor little Dilly. The two of them get drinkies as they sit in front of the store and eat their food. Pauline also in her voiceover explains how she gets aroused by it. As they leave the store, Pauline has a little mini meltdown as she gets too close to the edge of the sidewalk for her liking. And I'll show you how not close she was. You know Dilly was secretly wishing that it was closer. In her talking head, Pauline says that she knows she's possibly ruined Dilly's life, but I think the ship sailed when he popped out of her coochie. We enter month 1 and it's time for our pilgrimage to Houston. Looks like Pauline's going to be shoved in the back of that minivan. Dilly takes her giant leg and shoves it in the back of the van. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing at it. Poor Dilly, all by himself, gets Pauline in the back of the van. I'm so sorry, I can't not laugh at it. On day 2, we have our small dog sighting as Pauline offers it and Dilly some beef jerky for the trip. As you do on your pilgrimage, you have to stop at every fast food joint there is. Time to play guess the drive-thru. My guess is Wiener Schnitzel. We made it to Houston and Pauline is itching to try out that medical bed. Also, I think she sat her on her dog. The following day, and it's time to see the now. Pauline gets up on that painfully dramatic scale, With the help of Dilly, that shirt is not lost on me. She weighs in at 673. My favorite Persian potato enters the room and he immediately questions Pauline on her eating habits. Pauline says she eats anything. She just grazes all day. I gotta say, I love the way Dr. Now says cookies. It might be my favorite word he says now. We get to Who's the Enabler, and we have to give Pauline credit. She does admit that she bullies Dilly into buying her cookies. Pauline is sentenced to 50 pounds over the next several months. Dr. Now already knows that she's going to be an ass because he's talking about drastic steps already. Dilly packs his mom up in the van, and we hear a dog yapping in the background. So how long was that dog in the hot car in the parking lot? Good question. We enter month 2, and Pauline's complaining that she does nothing all day because she's not established like she was in California. Yeah, nice excuse. Dilly is sent on another fast food run because there's no grocery stores in Houston. I mean, I've been there and I've seen some, but I must have been in Dallas because apparently there's not. Pauline is clearly a fan of the Mickey D's as Dilly crawls in the apartment with some of it. We enter month 3, and it's time to see Dr. Now on that scale again. Pauline exits her car, looking like a big fat cat in heat. Pauline wobbles onto that painfully dramatic scale, and she weighs in at 677. My hero here points out that Pauline has gained weight. Pauline doesn't need the details as she snaps on her. The Now grills into her about not grasping her situation, and Pauline just blames it on that damn water weight and being nauseous. Pauline is given the sentence of hospitalization. We join Pauline 2 weeks in on her diet, and she says Dr. Now has been overreacting. Says Pauline, who overreacts to everything. Owie! My favorite Persian potato strolls in and informs Pauline that if she lost 40 pounds, he'll do the surgery. Look at this girl's face as Pauline asks if she'll break the scale. Eating that sad chicken sure did it, because Pauline lost 44 pounds. Looks like somebody's getting their stomach harvested. We enter next month and Pauline's getting ready to have her stomach harvested. You know she was just going owie owie every time they poked her with needles. Dr. Now comes to see Pauline pre-surgery, and Pauline looks like she wants a bedtime story about Iran or something before she goes under that knife. In her voiceover, Pauline says that she's doing this all for Dilly. I find that hard to believe. But anyhow, she's on the slab. It's time to get that stomach. We get our stomach comparison, and it's going from a watermelon to an orange. I have to say that's a pretty snazzy tie there, now. The room light is on, and Pauline is up. And of course she's nauseous. She's always nauseous, but I guess after surgery that should be the truth. But still, Pauline is wheeled into her room, and there's Dilly, looking like he's wondering why he didn't run when he had the chance to. It's 5 days later, and Pauline does not want to get out of that bed. Dr. Now is worried about Pauline getting blood clots. Look at his face. Imagine that's what his kids saw every time they got an A- on their report cards. Dr. Now lays into Pauline about how everyone goes home on the second day, and Pauline begins to cry. Dr. Now's just like, oh, here comes the tears again. Now gets his way as Pauline is forced to walk. Of course she is crying and bitching the whole time. She craps out down the hallway, and look at this girl's face. You could just tell Pauline is just a joy wherever she goes. It's been 2 days and Pauline just refused to walk, so she's getting a blood clot filter. Now should have did the right thing and just let her go. That way we could hashtag free Dilly. It should be law that whenever there's a surgical procedure going down on this show that Dr. Hottie has to be here. But look at that one guy. He's got the judgmental eyes going too. We fast forward a little bit in time and it's time for Pauline to go home. But first she needs a way in. But she's not giving up that remote. How dare Dr. Now just snatch it? The two of them fight over the remote for a while, which is quite comical. Anyhow, Dr. Now asks Pauline why she won't weigh in, and Pauline says that she is not dressed. Dr. Now just replies, this is not a fashion show. He is quite snarky this episode, isn't he? And just so we all know, Dr. Now knows a lot about fashion. Naturally, Dr. Now wins the fight, and it looks like Pauline has lost 136 pounds total. That means she can go home. We enter month 8 and Pauline's only doing what she wants to do. Today she's doing water walking. Should be doing a lot more, such as physical therapy, but she's just not going to do it. She's being stubborn. Pauline dips into the pool, fully clothed, socks and everything. But no one's going to tell her what to do. We enter month 9 and Pauline's about to see that painfully dramatic scale. The painfully dramatic scale says she lost 6 pounds, and Pauline begins singing, "That's pretty awesome." But I don't think Dr. Now thinks so. Look at him. He's so impressed. Not. They begin arguing about how she should be doing better and all that jazz. Dr. Now questions her on why she's not walking outside, and Pauline says she doesn't feel comfortable. She feels like she's gonna fall. As you can see, Pauline probably gave Dr. Now a mini stroke. Pauline is sentenced to lose more weight and to stop using her walker. Now in month 10, Pauline is saying she's nauseous again and she is cheating on that diet. She's starting to remind me of someone with this I'm nauseous all the time. That's doing Filbert wrong. Now we're in month 11 and Pauline has got a new ride to see that painfully dramatic scale. She squeezes in the tiny little door, and right behind is Dr. Now, just a-waiting. And he's not happy about it. I would love just to have some kind of weird job where I don't have to do anything but just eavesdrop in this office. Pauline steps on that painfully dramatic scale, and she is pleased about it, but Dr. Now, not so much. He starts going in about how the only time she has lost weight was when they intervened with her. And then my favorite scene ever happens. I know I say that a lot, but this one is a classic.
Hospital, you should have lost 30 pounds since last time I saw you. You're not losing any meaningful weight, but this is not working for you. This is bull.
In the exam room, Pauline begins crying about how every 3 hours she has to eat or she gets nauseous. Always with the nausea. She then starts lying about how physical therapy never calls her. And you know Dr. Now is going to investigate that. Busted again. Look at Pauline acting like she's all shocked and crap. Yeah, give this woman an Oscar. As you do when you win an Academy Award, you gotta cry. Dr. Now's just like, I kinda give up on you. Pauline leaves the office sentenced to get her poop in a group. To quote Penny, "We're in her last month and it does not look good. Pauline's still refusing to walk and has not done physical therapy at all. But hey, she's doing family bingo with Dilly." Dr. Now is crushed. I think Pauline should have took him to bingo to make it up to him. But anyhow, let's move on. Let's go ahead and get our rating for this episode. I'm going to rate this episode 96 tears because that's how much Pauline has cried in this episode. And that's a pretty good song. And of course we need a villain. Once again it's Dr. Now because he just doesn't understand. Pauline knows her body, damn it. In summary, this is one of my favorite Trainwreck episodes. I kind of know of a Pauline and Dilly, so it's kind of funny in that way. Maybe not, but it kind of is. But anyhow, this episode has so many quotable moments. Like, no more tears, this is not a fashion show. It's just great. By the way, guys, I made the pilgrimage. I didn't see Dr. Now's black SUV there, so I don't think he was there. But still totally worth it. It's so small in real life. I might have to go back and see if I can find out when he's there. I need to see that gift shop. I was too scared to go in by myself. But anyhow, I'll see you guys on the snark side.